Since I don't think I will get the video uploaded on time, I still have to film it. I still have to turn it into a script form. Let me give you an idea of how this works. I took a bunch of notes to... Yes, if you hear that in the background, that's actually the smoke detector, which for some reason it decided, even though I replaced the batteries, that it wants to be replaced. The landlords, who actually don't live in this state, they live in a different state. Oh, that's loud. Let me put that back. Well, put it back. Let me get back. I'm saying put the camera, the recording device, back over here. And yeah, that's what I had to deal with throughout the night. The landlords, when I called them about it, they said that yes, the smoke detector needs to be replaced. However, since they aren't here, want me to pay out of pocket. They told me to go to Home Depot or someplace like that and to take that smoke detector with me so we can get the same model, and for me to pay for it. Well, for me to just get a new one and replace it. And replace the others as well. And yeah, isn't it the landlord's job to replace the smoke detectors, not the tenants? Anyway, as I said, I'll give you a sample. I will tell you what I did and how I'm turning it into a script form. So from season 1, the circus itself, there was a glitch during the theme. After Kaufmo was supposed to be introduced, just before Pomni shows up. That, I believe, is an indicator that Pomni has just been downloaded into the servers. As in her consciousness or whatever. The theme was interrupted when Pomni backed into Jax, toppling over Kinger, then Gangle, which of course cracks Gangle's mask. So they went down like dominoes. Here's something. The areas I noticed in the tent, where the tent grounds, everything is digitized, mind you. The digital lake, the digital carnival, the void, an eatery. I don't know if it's like a cafeteria or supposed to be a restaurant on the grounds or what. The exit door, which I will get into later on. In fact, Pomni sees when Kane, just before Kane brings her back to the tent, as in she saw the door, it was right out there, and Kane denied its existence. I believe there's a reason for that. The exit door. So far, and keep in mind, this is the circus based solely on the 7 episodes we've seen so far. And I'm telling you about the circus itself, the whole system. And so I believe that was an exit door, and that every once in a while, when someone new shows up, there's an exit, an emergency exit they can use to back out of the system before they start their first adventure. Unfortunately for Pomni, Kane brings her back, and then there's the whole Gloink episode, or, the Gloink adventure started, in which case the exit door became false. Let's see. Oh, yeah. No one ever remembers their human name, just the name that they either choose or are given. Yeah, can you imagine listening to that beeping all night long? Oh, humans get doors upon entering the digital circus. Red X abstracted stand-ins for non-claimed. Oh, okay. So as soon as they're being downloaded into the circus, the hallway of their own rooms, they get added to one of the unused rooms, and a red X will mark those that have been abstracted. And the red X is done through Kane. Once he finds out someone's abstracted, he's the one that adds the red X to their door. And it's basically locking off the door because there's still room for redemption. Kane knows this. He knows that they can be brought back from abstraction, and then they will have their own room unless they manage to get out of this, out of the servers, as it were. What's other notes I have? Tense other doors lead to, various scenarios, like the Dr. Football one. That's all we know of Dr. Football, by the way. Let's see if I can find my notes on him. I don't know what I did with my notes on him, actually. I'm going through these, and that looks like just regular ones. Standard. Yeah. In which case, there's some more. The blanks. There's the fudge, Orbsman. Yeah, where's the other characters? Ming, disappearing guy. I have notes all over the place. Scratch. Evil Big Tops, other abstracted. I don't know where my notes were on the other NPCs. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So Dr. Football was just the guy in the bathtub, I believe. Let's see. Fake exit door dissolves after Pomni enters the office labyrinth. And that tells me that that this door was meant to sort of make her lose hope on finding an actual exit. This is part of Kane wanting to keep them, which I will be getting to in my full version. CNA for Cain and Abel. The labyrinth exited into the void because the labyrinth, that part of it was Cain, but then the server took over. So when Pomni got to the one area that she knew. She remembered. Everyone remembers that one area because that's the headset. Well, except for Kinger, who entered through a different. Anyway, so yes. That exit door, which would have been an actual exit, ended up going to the void. Oh, and at the end of episode 1, outside the void, if you went further out, is the computer monitor. And that actually means something. So this is the world it is, the circus. And these are notes that I took that will be incorporated into my theory or theory story or whatever. In episode 2, the collision cube. After Pomni falls out of bed from her nightmare, she gets one of those. And this is actually, they all assume that Kane is in charge of the circus. He has admin powers to the circus, but he's not the one that designed the circus. Well, he sort of is. The void was the empty space in which he can create this world, and he turned it into a circus. Before that, it was something. There was an eatery. There was the lake. There was the, a few of those doors, King just turned it into a tent. And there always was the void. But that's getting ahead of myself. And so the collision cube, it's because Kane, for some reason, can never get that right. Oh, 57. Yeah, it used to be 69, where people would say nice. And now it's recently 67. 67 beep? Anyway, in Digital Circus, you'll find the number 57 comes up a lot. Kane says 57 more immersive for the new AI. It's now 57 times more immersive. And he says AI, but it's really an NPC. Kane is an AI. So is Abel. Once again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Collision detection. The truck hits the spot, glitches, and what is that? Oh, tosses Pomni and Gummy Goo, as well as the truck flies off. So it's not just the collision cube. At certain points, the collision detection is off. That's because of how long the servers have been running this simulation game thing, which it was not originally designed to be a game. I'll get to that later. Teapots on the way down to the, where they have the off-screen image file save section. I don't know what it's called. But once again, the teapots, I think, actually means something. And that one is not it's not Kane's doing. It's actually part of what the original reason for this going into the server was about. Oh, another collision cube. Pomni uses the saved truck and cubes for the collision glitch to get them out of there. Oh, and then also in episode 2, the second bad guy truck contains syrup as well. Actually, I have it listed. Second bad guy truck contains syrup 2. Because it entered the map. I bet you it did not have the syrup in when it was a save file. And once it entered the map, well, the server said, oh, I recognize this. It's supposed to have syrup. That's why it has syrup. Episode 3. I only have one note here. Another 57. That man can turn a 57-second story into a Greek tragedy. Episode 4, only a couple notes. Once again, 57. Oarsman orders a number 57 from Spudsy's menu. And I do have notes on Orbsman, by the way. Also, the stupid sauce from Spudsy's is addictive and makes one stupid. In other words, it's drugs. It's either hardcore alcohol or some form of drug, maybe psilocybin, because of the way they're tripping. It's not the marijuana trip. Otherwise, Ragatha would have been getting the munchies, which she wasn't. She was just beep. Episode 5, only a couple notes. Why does Cain say it's bad if the humans are happy? Remember, in episode 5, Cain says, oh, this is not good because they might really like this. They might be happy. Now, what if it's not about the suggestion box? He passed it off as in, oh, it's because if they like their own suggestions better than mine. No, I think there's another reason about the humans being happy, and it's more or less being happy in the digital world, which I will get to later. Episode 6, number 57 again. Meet you guys up at the stage in 5.7 minutes. Oh, let's say 5.7 minutes. Yeah. So once again, the number 57. So far, we have it in 2, 3, 4. I missed it in 5, but I bet you it was in there somewhere. 6. And I'm sure it was in episode 7. Yeah, as I said, that beeping when you are trying to sleep throughout the night. Oh, the Chinese room. You know what? I'm going to take this time to go through the... I actually had a translation app. So I did Google Translate. And Google Translate can't translate the beeps. It's a bad smoke detector, needs to be replaced. Luckily, the landlord will be stopping by to check in, I think middle of March. So I just have to survive another month, and then we can see about getting the smoke detector fixed. Hopefully not on my dime, because I don't have money. Okay. Inside the Chinese room, some of the symbols mean middle, Joe, specialize, share, a, very, very, Joe, virtue, a, egg. This is paper, as well as behind it, antiquity. I just like one of the Chinese writing is, this is paper. Egg. Oh, once again, maximum egg. meeting, interest. There's interest and quilt, chicken, eye. So those are the ones that I was able to translate. And I don't remember which one Kane was holding. Because that was in no, it was in episode 7. So I probably marked it in one of the Kane notes. Yes, I have different notes for the different ones. Oh, Chinese Room has an NPC reading Artificial Chinese Dictionary, which the publisher is C&A. So yeah, the company made this book, Artificial Chinese Dictionary, meaning it's not real, which I just found amusing. That's why I wrote it down. Oh, and yes, because the door got open, the NPC was finally free. Apparently, this NPC, all he was allowed to do is Kane would send something under the door, and then he just had to find one of those Chinese symbols and send it back to him. That was the entire gag. That's all the NPC was created for. However, he saw the door open and escaped. The administrator entries and activity is centered around the hot air balloon. I can't read my own handwriting. And that is because, once again, symbolism here. If you think back to, and I will use a reference, Oz, Wizard of Oz. The wizard entered in a hot air balloon. He's been conjuring trickery, as it were, in order to make them think that he is all powerful. And I believe the hot air balloon is Kane's way of, this is where he lives, so he's watching from above, but it's also symbolism, as in, I see the time, it's after my 20 minutes, so I will rush through the rest. Oh, the secret wall for the administrator office. There's a secret wall for the administrator office. And the administrator passes look like an open hand. Once again, there's a reason for that. It's symbolism. Another collision cube. It was used to get them up into the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon has a tube slide to Kane's office. Kane's office has the double doors. So there's 2 sides of that door, a blue and a red, which actually, once again, if you think back to Pokemon, originally it was red and green, but in USA, it was red and blue. Now, the red door has a crescent moon on it, right? The blue door doesn't have a symbol. It doesn't have the sun. And once again, I believe there is a reason for that. Kane is the red moon. Abel is the blue sun. Well, I believe the office was originally for the both of them. And they both could watch over the circus through the hot air balloon. Well, before it became the circus. And then I have a note for timestamp of episode 7 of the Digital Circus, 27 minutes 56 seconds through 28 minutes 8 seconds. I would have to actually play that to know what that's about. And now to actually explain to you what I believe the Digital Circus was. Back when VR was being created, this government agency, well, it was an agency that was being given a government grant, paid for through the government. Well, they were trying to find new ways to utilize this VR technology. Strap the headset onto someone and take them into this world, and you can cure in a psychological meaning. You can't cure physical, but they were hoping to cure psychological. Cain and Abel. It's biblical. And the reference refers to the first murder. And I'm thinking, what if this company, Cain and Abel, which they designed based on wanting to help reform the criminally insane. So Batman reference, Arkham Asylum. So they wanted to help those that were, just they were not redeemable or seemed not redeemable, and see if they can find a way to make them model citizens once more. Well, unless they were born that way, but, make them model citizens nonetheless. And so that's when the programmers came up with this. We put this VR headset on, we'll have an AI run it, and he will put them through tests. They will have their own room. They will have an eatery. That way, if they feel they need to eat, and a room if they feel they need to sleep. It's just their mindset that's in there. And then we will be able to cure them. The doctor will be in there, and they can last as long as they can. We will place them in these pods. And so while they were testing this, while they were training it, one programmer created Cain and Kinger created Abel. Yes, Abel did not work with Kinger in the sense that, it was alluded to in episode 7. I believe Abel was an AI just like Cain. And so those two work together. You have your sun and moon. And, there's the, yeah, Cain's eyes. One blue, one green. Where is it? It's in the notes for Cain. I would say episode 5, was it? Oh, my notes are out of order now. Yeah, that one's on me. It's like I am just not able to keep track of my notes. I jumbled them up by mistake. All right. 3. Where's my... Which one had the intermission? I think that was 5. I'm not certain. Okay. And we go through suggestions at a rapid pace. Making vegan. Seems when questioned about the intermission, King froze. Yeah. So during the intermission in episode 5, maybe I have it in the able notes. One color eye eats the other. I believe Cain was the colored eye, and the one it ate, that's why the other eyeball was staring at Cain during the intermission, giving Cain the heebie-jeebies, is because Cain was upset. He loved being in charge. Abel showed up. So Cain was the first one programmed AI there. And Abel showed up and did things a bit differently. Cain felt, the older brother syndrome, as it were. He felt like Abel was getting the better stuff, unless it's a younger brother syndrome. I don't remember. But one brother always has it out for the other brother. I think it's the older one that thinks the younger one has the better life. And so he gets upset. Anyway, so Cain decided to try and delete Abel. Abel is still there, just not all there. He doesn't have a physical form exactly because of what Cain did. That's why Cain has 2 eyes, or 2 different colored eyes, is because he absorbed Abel. Anyway, so this program was supposed to help those, the criminally insane. And I just told you the point of the my notes of the circus that leads me up to this. And unfortunately, an unforeseen circumstance occurred. So first of all, Cain was an unforeseen circumstance when he destroyed Abel. In order to fix this, because they hadn't even tested on people yet, on humans yet, and so they sent a team into the digital circus in order to figure out what is going on, what happened to Abel. And upon going in there, Cain manipulated their brains and they lost memory of who they were, just that they worked for C&A and that they somehow ended up there without knowing how or how to do anything. And so Cain decided, these must be the humans that I need to reform. And so he puts them through his games. And sure enough, I think Scratch was the first to abstract. It's in my notes somewhere. Scratch was there with Kinger, with Queenie, with, I don't know who else was there. But yeah, so when Scratch decided, I give up, I'm just gonna stay here and blissfully, I'm so stressed out. I've had it. I'm just ready to give up on everything and let the computer take control of me. That is what abstraction is. When the human gives up their will to the machine. Now, because they're giving up their will, It's a blinding light. Their minds go into this blissful peace. They took the red pill, or was it the blue pill? I don't remember. Matrix. But yeah, they decided, I am going to stay here and do whatever the machine tells me. The machine doesn't know how to register the human in NPC form. So the human, having very little will, lashes out on whatever's moving, pure instinct. And they crave the dark. That's why they're calm in the dark, because the light hurts their many eyes. And that's what abstraction is. So after Cain discovered that, he realized, all right, I cannot let these humans feel bliss. Otherwise, this odd occurrence will occur. And so that's why the circus is designed that way. Sun and Moon, I have notes on them. I have notes on some of the NPCs. But yeah, so the original programming was supposed to be for the criminally insane, to rehabilitate them, have them go through life in there rather than serving jail time sentence. Because you can spend many years in prison for committing all these crimes, or you can feel like you've spent hundreds of years in the digital circus, in the servers. And while that's going on, your body's being taken care of, and once you get removed, it's less time than you thought. So the prisons are less crowded. Cain, however, decided he likes giving out gain. He loves this whole circus motif, make a show of it, make a game show of it. Because both Cain and Abel have access to the internet. And that's why, not outside anymore, because the company, once he abducted the humans that were in there trapped, the company had to cover it up. They had to hide the fact. And so they actually, they closed up shop, would not take any news. They just said they were filing for bankruptcy, even though they were keeping the servers open in case their people could ever escape. Now, mind you, Kinger was an adult. And it's been 20, 30 years, so he's gotten old. But he's not too old. He can still come out of it as probably almost senior citizen. Unless he would be considered a senior citizen. He might be considered a senior citizen now that I think of it. But he's not dead yet. His body kept getting preserved. Who knows? Maybe Kinger will not be able to survive if he's out there, put into his elderly body. And then there's the Jax thing. I do not believe that Jax was involved in a hit and run. That seems to be popular belief, but not my popular belief. I believe that neighborhood was the neighborhood he grew up in, and that he was almost like an internet troll, a bully, that he was running with the wrong crowd. Hoodlum, a punk, not full gang member, but someone who just didn't didn't roll by the rules, as it were. Yeah, I know. It's been, what, 40 minutes? Yeah. This isn't an hour-long rant. This is an hour-long explaining the digital circus. So, having scanned the internet back then, if there was no internet back then, come to think of it, there were, it was bulletin board systems, is what it was, to connect with others. Well, he got to see through the cameras at the company. That's how he knows how the offices look and everything. Those Polaroids are actually what he captured when he used the security cams, when he used the computer cameras. There was no face cams back then, before you think of it. But there were cameras that would record your face, and such. When working on VR, they were trying to figure out how to show movement. I want to call it Connects. I don't remember what that game system is called, where it would utilize when the way you move, how you move, to see things. Anyway, so Kane used cameras to see the office. He learned because people there would have their little portable TVs they would plug in, or ran on batteries. And so he saw these things. He saw a variety show, designed like a circus, or who knows what he saw, but he loved that concept. Abel didn't mind, and they ran with it. They designed the world, or, the parts of the world that they could. And of course, that's what happened. Now, Bubble is really Kane. Bubble's an AI, almost like Kane's pet, but was created after Kane killed Abel. He felt guilt, and Bubble became, his guilt manifested into a character. And they just became friends. Bubble became his pet, his sidekick, And I was talking about the circus, not about the characters. So after he designed the circus does try and rescue the humans in its own way. The circus has been running since, for about 30 years or longer. Let's see, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. Okay, close to 40 years. Because I don't remember exactly when AI was really a thing. So this server is breaking down. And that's why you have these glitches occurring, and why Kane is having his episodes, because he's been running for quite some time. And yeah, so through my notes, I will explain more about what the circus is. I'm just giving you a heads up. And I might end up doing the rest this way, where I just look at my notes and tell you my concept for what I was going with. Unless I can finally get around to getting all these notes, because I have most of them on the computer. I just need to get the rest of them so I can turn it into a script, and then find time to film, then edit, render, and get it uploaded. I want to get it uploaded before March 20th, just in case. That's why I'm recording this, or why I filmed this. Like, comment, share, subscribe, notifications, End of video.